Hi, everyone. Welcome to everybody who joined recently because of my interview with Dr.G Kruhly. I'm welcoming him today to give us more information about this upcoming event that we all got very hyped about. We're going to hear about what the Mahurta of the end of Kali Yuga is, when Kali Yuga is finishing, all kinds of questions that you asked me on my Instagram account at Zorina Heal and Learn. Dr. G's Instagram account, if you want to follow him, is at Depth Healing. Hi, Dr. G. Rex, welcome.
Hello, Zorina. How are you, honey?
Awesome. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Ditto.
Wow. This was a sweeping success or interest. I don't know what to call it. People were just engaged. What do you assign this fact to?
The divine. This situation. I'm astounded because I've been praying for ages, and now the divine is obviously very, very happy about this particular event we're doing. It's a seva, which means it's a gift. There is no cost and there's no gimmicks or no nothing. I'm not selling a free Ginsu knife if you sign something or there's no gimmicks here. This is pure, this is the real deal. So the divine is spreading everything, and that's why this is working. And I have an entire task force of special. In the divine, the divine is like a population, and there are specific great beings that I have a personal relationship with that I assign different tasks. So I have three working along with Shriyama Bhagavan in the Great Compassionate Light specifically for my work. And obviously that's really working because we jumped from being like this big to being like a skyscraper literally overnight. It took me and my admin quite by surprise. But I'm ready, and the divine's ready, and it's going to be it is a very special time. Not because of me, I'm just a channel, but I'm the connector that makes the event have a power source. Power source is the Great Compassionate Light itself, and that's why you don't want to miss this because it's never coming again. Takes thousands of years. I don't know how many thousand for the Earth to ever come back around the galactic, around the Milky Way to get the alignment. So it's 12 hours, and once it's gone, it's gone.
Okay, let's talk. Let's address a few questions of people that I got on Instagram. So, firstly, who gave you this information of the timing of the Mahurta? Because people say, they're very well educated in Hinduism, and they've never heard anything like that. Some of them claim that we've just entered Kali Yuga. Some of them claim that Kali Yuga doesn't end until 432,000 years from now. What is the truth? And where do you have it?
Okay, so as far as we just entered Kali Yuga, you no cigar. You come close, but no cigar by about 100 million years. So we're at the end of Kali Yuga, thank God. And how do we get the information? So I am the direct sevak of a special A team. They call the 81,000. That was started about I believe 1987 under Shriyama Bhagavan, who are avatars, real avatars, in India, where the Great Compassionate Light first made its presence known to start the work in a little public school called Sataloka in India in 1987. Now, as far as the information goes, to give you an idea of how accurate this information is, irregardless of what anybody else says, is irrelevant. What happened is with Shriyama Bhagavan, a lot of people, there's millions of people, they think they can talk to the Akashic records, and that's wonderful. But actually, to speak to the Akashic records, even the greatest of all seers that ever existed, they only have on average 15 to 19% accuracy, because the Akashic records, which is omnipresent throughout the entire universe and all of its different layers, and it's omnipresent. There's an endless array of possibilities, and that's always in flux because everything is dependently arising and dependently ceasing. If you understand what that means and that it's a process, there's nothing in stone. So what Bhagavan does to get the date and the hours and so forth and so on, they took 1,000 people from around the world, different education levels and different levels of consciousness and so, but they're all high consciousness from all around the world, and they were put through a special process. And that process allows them to access the Akashic records, and then they are all the time, I think it's something like every week, they all tally, they look in and tally for the Mahurta. And they only got the date for the Mahurta. All they knew was it would be in 2024. And then a few months ago, the date was finally collaborated. So they have 1,000 people, and all of them, they have to see the same thing. So it's not an iffy thing, or it's not just, even though Bhagavan is the highest. If you find anybody anywhere higher than Bhagavan, you let me know.
So they're the disciples out of the 81,000 that graduated from this school in the 80s. 1,000 are now reporting and checking with the field and reporting. Okay.
That's right. So Bhagavan, no one graduates. It's not that you graduate, honey. It's not. This isn't something like that.
Right.
This is like an A team formulated and empowered directly with the divine. The objective being save the planet, save humanity. Same objective that Jesus came to earth with, and Krishna and Buddha and any of the greats, they come with the objective to save humanity and save the planet. Now, the issue has always been the same, and it always will be the same. Everything is a numbers game, because the numbers creates the magnification of power, just like intelligence. Intelligence depends on the surface area of the cells. That's the brain. The cell is very small, so the intelligence of the individual cell is small. When the cells join together and make a tissue, and they have the amount of surface area of the total tissue, the knowledge and the intelligence is exponentially greater. And then those tissues go together, they make an organ. The organ, all the cells, when the cells are combined, there's an emergent property of intelligence or consciousness relative to the number of cells, or the number of people, or the number of ants, the number of termites. That's why you take a termite or a few termites, put them on the ground and watch them, and they don't look special at all. When you put several million together, they make termites are the structures of a termite mound are considered some of the most advanced architecture anywhere in the world, including modern science today. How do they do that? There is an emergent property of consciousness that is developed by the size of the colony. And the conscious, so when we say
about morphogenic fields at the moment.
That's right. That's a morphogenic field. Morphogenic field is a gigantic electromagnetic field, and like the Google Cloud. Google Cloud is a morphogenic field. It's an electromagnetic field, and then the information from your computer goes into the cloud, and the information is encoded in photons of light. And the photons of light are held together in the field, and then the computer can access the field, and the field can access the computer. It's a feed forward, feed backward system. You are like that. Your body temple is not you. Your body temple is an avatar. And they know that with hardline science now, because with the magnetoencephalogram, they discovered that every time you're thinking, none of the thoughts are in your head. None of it is. It's outside of your head. You're not in your body. Your body receives the signal from the real you in the field. And then through you, the higher self knows what it feels like to have a cup of coffee in the mountains, or make love, or go fishing, or freeze to death. Or it's a feed forward, feed backward learning process. That's what this is. That's why the brain is an antenna system.
But what do you mean by it hasn't been measured by electroencephalogram? Because I know that brain waves are measured, but how can they measure thought? How can they say we're not measuring thoughts?
Well, Bruce Lipton's been talking about it recently. I don't know how long ago they just came out with this thing, the way I understand it, and they can with the machine they see and know the thinking is occurring outside,
Okay.
not inside. This is an antenna array, and the thoughts come in here and they go out the back, right at the center of your head, at where your neck meets your head. It's an antenna array. And your antenna array is tuned to various frequencies. And your antenna array may be tuned to very, very high frequencies, very, very high level information, like Einstein's was. Or if you see a guy that's a bum and never just, like a bum. So his level of frequency that he's picking up is not high knowledge. That's all this brain is. That's why when you meditate, every across all cultures, every meditation teacher will tell you the same thing. You sit still and you watch thoughts come and go. Why? Because the thoughts have nothing to do with you. They never have. There's no such thing as your mind. Thinking and mind is a field. It's millions and millions and millions of years old. And the thoughts come and go according to the way your brain is tuned and your antenna array. And that's fundamentally developed through the subconscious mind, which is running everything. And that's where my work comes in. I can change and alter the subconscious mind and how it's programmed, and then you pick up different. Whenever you work with me, your consciousness is going up. As it's going up means your antenna array is becoming more refined, and you see higher.
Yeah.
You receive higher all the time. The only reason the meditation people want you to watch the thoughts come and go is they want you to realize they're not you. If you realize that, and for real, you disidentify with the thought process, and that gives you freedom. Normally, the thought comes in, we identify with it, we think it's ours, we think it's real, and like a dog gets a scent in the forest, we go running, and we're chasing it and suffering with it, angry with it, and all kinds of stuff. But the higher the consciousness, like my consciousness now, I can see the thoughts when they come, and I see them, and it's really funny because they're so old, unbelievable, so old.
Thoughts that you've had before, or thoughts that you are able to catch up that are all thoughts from somebody else?
Picking up thoughts from somebody else is not in my. I'm not able to do that. If I am able to do it, it's not conscious.
I see.
Mostly mind is memory. It's all old memory. So let's say I'm driving in the car. So what I'm doing is driving the car. That's the real, actual fact. And I see something, and all of a sudden a scene, something on the road, and it brings the memory of a scene from a movie. And now in my consciousness is enough. I recognize the scene from the movie, and I know what environmental thing I saw or heard or smelled that triggered the memory. That's all mind is. Mind is basically all dead old information. But it exists in the field. It's a belt. And when you see an enlightened person like Eckhart Tolle, he's unplugged from it.
How do you know that Eckhart Tolle is enlightened, and what does enlightened mean?
Enlightenment means enlightenment. There's no end to different types of enlightenment, and every human being has a different kind of enlightenment. But there are certain common characteristics, and one of the common characteristics is the inner dialogue shuts off. So when the inner dialogue, the inner dialogue is basically giving you your life, your friends, your relationships, your success, your failure, everything. And it's just like a tape. When that thing shuts off and you experience what I call sacred silence and sacred peace and sacred stillness, and you're in the present moment. So you're finally alive because the mind is not interjecting. And then when they want to think, if they have a task that they need to think about or a problem to solve, the brain will solve it. So thinking comes. Soon as the thinking is no longer needed, it shuts off. So they're at peace.
So would you say that that this is permanent enlightenment, or when it switches off?
Eckhart Tolle's is permanent enlightenment. When a person, I've had those states, but I am not enlightened. So I know what enlightenment is, and I know what enlightenment isn't, and by direct experience. But it's only a state. So states come and states go.
Right.
But it's still nice to have the state.
Yeah.
It's life changing, But the permanent enlightenment. So in the A team that I belong to, I am promised directly by the divine. All of them are to be given their enlightenment. So there are 25,000 active members of this team now, and there are 5,000 individuals who have received their full and permanent enlightenment. There's quite a few of them in your part of the country, in the world, but the majority of them are in India. Anytime you have a person who's enlightened, just by existing, their consciousness is affecting the consciousness of 100,000 people. So all of us have a karmic family of influence to 100,000 people. Now that's why when you watch Eckhart Tolle, if you notice his events and things, when he does something, there'll be 100,000 people.
Okay.
They are just automatically.
All right, I see. Okay,
so those 5,000 who are enlightened now, they and who are being directed by the great compassionate light, they influence the consciousness as a field of 500 million.
Okay, and you said that you're promised to be given enlightenment. So is it something that you're not striving for to achieve yourself? So you're given it as a gift, or how does it work?
You can strive till hell freezes over, and you will never go anywhere. There has never been in the history of the planet Earth anyone at any time through any effort that can strive for or achieve enlightenment. Be very, very clear on this. Enlightenment is something that must be given to you by the divine. That's why when Eckhart Tolle was going to kill himself, he was going to take his own life, and he started to faint. And he heard a voice say, "Resist nothing." And when he woke up the next day, he was permanently enlightened for the rest of his life. Because while he is sleeping, he is receiving a brain surgery by the divine. The divine alters the brain. In an enlightened person, Things like fear, the brain can no longer produce it. Things like regret, the brain can no longer produce it. Things like a carryover. Carryover means somebody insults you and an hour later you're still mad. The brain can no longer functions like that because the brain was altered. So enlightenment is always a gift. Buddha too, all of them. Anyone that thinks otherwise, best of luck to you. Keep on plugging because you're not going anywhere. The divine, the reason for the 81,000 A team is to give people enlightenment. And it took them over 850 years for the divine to develop the brain surgery so that it's safe. There's no worry whatsoever if the divine gives you the brain surgery. And whether you want to believe it or not is irrelevant. There's already thousands and thousands of people, and that's what they're doing now. And the reason is they have to the only way you're going to save this planet, the only way we're still going to be here at the end of 2025 is if you change the consciousness. There is no political agenda that will save anything. There's no group, no army, no nothing. Because the consciousness of humanity is what made the problem in the first place. And you can't solve that problem with the same consciousness. So you have to change the consciousness so that people have unconditional love. When people are in a state of unconditional love, they cannot murder children. They can't torture people. They can't wage war. They will not commit murder. It doesn't happen because their consciousness is in a state of love. Now, the Mahurta is an opportunity to punch a real big hole globally, to have your prayers answered for you on a personal level, and to have liberation for your ancestors and bless your mom and your dad. Because your life is coming through your mom and dad and your ancestors, 6 generations back on dad's side, 6 generations back on mom's side. Your wealth comes through your father. That's the way the universe is ordered. Whether your life is easy or difficult comes through your mother. That's how the world is ordered. So the Mahurta is an unprecedented time. It only lasts 12 hours. And the event that I'm doing on behalf of the divine for people, it'll be about an hour, hour and a half, what I've figured. Very, very rare. I mean, it's not going to be coming again. So grab it. It's free. You just go to my website, right on the landing page. Just scroll down a little bit. It'll say Mahurta, end of Kali Yuga. And then the Zoom link is there. Details on how to make your prayers. Write them very carefully. Write them as thank you letters. That everything no matter how big the goal or how far in the future, you have it now. Always tell the divine very clearly and authentically why you want that. That's a requirement.
Yeah.
And then when you bring the prayers to the event, I'm going to endorse them. The divine will endorse them because I'm going to be able to make the link up. That's my job. And every prayer will be answered.
Could you briefly talk about your ability to link up to the divine other people's prayers and how this works,
Sure.
how you were given this ability, and also say please a few words about Sri Rama Bhagavan, because a lot of the viewers are not Hindu and they have no clue, like I didn't know who the person was. I had to research and find out myself, but could you please talk about this as well?
Yeah, so the first and foremost to understand here, just take the idea of religion or religious connotation or anything like that and throw that right out the window. I wouldn't touch religion with a magnifying glass. This is all about consciousness, folks. This consciousness, and humanity, and along with all of the plants and all the animals and everything, is one. So this is a family. We're a family. We're not separate from each other, and we're not separate from anybody else. It's all one. The mind, the big mind field, that's one. We're one. And the divine is one with us and for us. So don't worry about any kind of religious or cultural anything. Number two, why does the divine link up through India? That is because culturally, their way is very easy for you to be one-on-one with the divine. In the West, it's very much the divine is way up in the sky in an exalted position, and you got to pray to it. So the way the divine is doing this now is it's a personal relationship. So it's one-on-one. So my divine lives with me right here.
So why is it different than in the West? Is it because of the technological development that puts a barrier between people and nature, or why is it that people in India are actually?
Well, that goes all the way back to Jesus and before, and the way I guess the way the divine and the relationship between people on that side of the world, how we were raised and how we thought. Mm-hmm. See that, like the North American Indians, they didn't think like that. So they're one with the land, mm-hmm. and the land and nature is God. Same with India. So the divine is easier. It's much easier to operate through there. So that's like central control type of a thing. Mm-hmm. And so let's just leave that part there. Now, how does the link work? That's a very, very good question. Long time ago, I was a Sufi. I was a full immersion Sufi in the 1990s. And when you have the great sheikh, great spiritual being, or when you have, like, say, with Jesus, with his disciples, or any great spiritual, like if he's a real guru, they can make a heart connection. There's a heart connection that is established between the great teacher or the great being and you. And that bond, that's basically your job. They give you the link, and you cultivate your bond to them. So I work my bond to the divine through Shriyama Bhagavan. Shriyama Bhagavan are people. They're avatars. So as Bhagavan describes it, what's an avatar? An avatar has 1 foot here in the world and 1 foot in the heavens. So like when Jesus comes to earth and he's walking around in sandals and he's eating and drinking, he's in an avatar body. But the great Christ consciousness operates through him. It's a direct line. In his case there, he has the full power. It's a complete power. No gap. Bhagavan and Amma are like that. Amma is you know how a lot of women call themselves goddesses. Amma is an actual goddess as far as that goes. And her job, she handles all of the earthly issues. Your desires, your needs, money, health, all that stuff. That's her job. The real being, Amma, is like the divine feminine, gigantic energy. And then it talks and communicates and stuff through Amma. And the giant being Bhagavan operates through Sri Bhagavan, and his job is the consciousness itself and the connection to the great compassionate light, both in this life and when you die, and you're in the other side, on the other side, what's going on there. So any of you that feel called to this, if you feel called to this when I'm talking to you, that means That's why you're on earth now. If you don't feel called, you'll know. But if you do feel called, I can tell you it's a very simple procedure to register. And when you register, you will be connected to that A team through the great compassionate light. And then you, through your own sincerity and talking, because when you make a relationship with the divine, you talk. Just like when you meet a nice man or a nice woman, how do you meet them? You talk to them. So you talk to the divine and you make a relationship. And if you do that seriously, the divine will come right to you, just like it does me. I live right here anywhere I am, the divine is right here with me. How do I know that? I can ask them for a sign and they'll do stuff. They'll move furniture or give me all kinds of signs. They saved my life. I don't know how many times. I had a car accident the other day. Even the paint on the car doesn't even move. There's no mark. There's nothing. The divine is very, very real. What I'm telling you isn't la la la. My bond is nothing. They have people with bonds with the divine. It literally looks like a Harry Potter movie. I mean, seriously, there's no limit to it. It depends on your heart, on your karma, and how sincere you are. I grew up on the rough side of the tracks. A lot of stuff to clear with me because I was a tough guy in the old days when I was a martial specialist, and there's a lot of stuff I had to work on me a lot to get me where I am. But now, see, because of my association with the divine, they clean me. I don't have anger. I used to be so angry, I developed breast cancer. I had to cut that out of me. I broke my back in half from anger. Rage, it's all gone. Most of the triggers in me are gone. Almost all of them. There's some little bit, but there's little to no carryover. Used to be I'd get mad. I might be mad for hours, days, weeks, months. Now I go, and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Carry over because they changed my brain.
Yeah. So when
The
this
divine
connection,
change.
yeah,
I'm sorry, babe.
when this connection is established now during the Mahurta event, the people that participate, that are called to do that, and when you establish this connection between the divine and them through you, how can they maintain this channel and work with it? And how do they take it further? How big is it? What do they do with that?
Okay, so that's a good question. I don't want a misunderstanding. When you do the Mahurta, this is a specific event for prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Reason we're using prayer is that there cannot be any negative transfer of karma. So what's going to happen is if you want a connection with the divine, you have to register or you make a connection through some other pathway or teacher or something, and you make a connect. What you're doing in the Mahurta with me is the Mahurta, folks. The earth, so the earth is when it reaches the Mahurta, the earth is going to have a direct line to the galactic center of the Milky Way. And that little tiny window that
We always have a direct line, don't we? Because we always see the galactic center.
Yeah, but energetically, no, you don't. It's not like that. This is some kind of a. I'm not a specialist of astrophysics, but it's a specific
Let's talk
point.
energy rather, because there are a lot of people
Yeah,
who are
yeah.
flat earthers and they have a problem with that. So let's talk energy. What happens in this period?
Okay, so the energy. So if you know the kind of influence the sun has on us, the moon when it's full, and so forth, all of the great bodies in our solar system, they affect our consciousness, they affect our health, they affect everything. Now this time it's the power hitting the earth directly from the center of the Milky Way. At that time, it's a point where Kali Yuga, which is about something like 450,000 years, it is going to be shut off. It's not going to get any more gas, nothing to sustain it anymore. During that time, it's a shut off period. It's like taking your foot off the gas on the car, and then the car is going to start coasting until it stops. So the Mahurta time, that energy that has been sustaining Kali Yuga stops. And it's going to start a slow down period. So nothing from that 12 hours going forward, nothing will ever be the same. During that time, the power is extraordinary, and the divine comes to you, to us, and it conjoins with that power source to provide miracles, answer dreams, heal, save the planet. It's that special time where it can use that power. The period, the huge period is shut off from any more energy to sustain it. And the access to the divine is enormous. So what we're going to be doing is tying straight in to that vortex, that morphic field of power. And because of me, my job is to conjoin or plug everyone that is attending as a single entity into the great compassionate light. So you're going to have your prayers and everything is there. And this is, you are now with my authority, because I've been given an authority, we call the power of prayer, to make the connection for you. So I'm going to be doing that. Because of that connection, when you do the prayer, it's plugged in. So it has real audience, and with the divine, it has a real power source. And that is why they will be answered. That's why you save those prayers, never throw them away, because we don't know when or exactly how your prayer will be answered, but it will be answered. That's the difference with this time. That's why you don't miss it. So you take like a I'm just trying to think of some of my clients. For some of my ladies, they're very lonely, beautiful women like her, and no man. And they're
I'm not lonely.
So you during the Mahurta, you say, I'm so grateful for my partner who loves me and cherishes me, for the fact that he's a wealthy, wonderful man who loves me with all his heart. You're writing your prayer out like that. And then the divine's going to answer that. You say, I'm so grateful that I have financial freedom and financial security. And then you have to say why. So I want my financial security because, and any reason, don't worry that it sounds selfish at all. What you worry about is if you're not being authentic. You have to say why. As long as you're authentic, the divine will endorse it. The only thing the divine will not endorse is if you're wishing some kind of harm to anybody or anything. And
May I
then
ask you something at this point, because I think it's very important. The period that you're mentioning is known to other people as well that do not have the best intentions, I believe, and I'll tell you why. There are quite a few important events happening at the same time in this same period. For example, there's a meeting in Davos from the 15th to the 19th, I believe. So the reason that these organizations choose exactly these periods is not a coincidence. What do you think about that?
Most likely. The only people that know about the Mahurta are the highest level mystics. And the dark side has their own agenda with their own as you may have noticed, they're rather brilliant. They've got everything figured out from beginning to end. So certainly if the Mahurta's time in the galaxy is there, the dark side would know, and then they will try to use it for their power.
I understand.
But remember what Yoda said, folks. Is the dark side stronger? Luke Skywalker said, is the dark side stronger? And he said, no, quicker, easier, more seductive. So don't ever think they're stronger. I don't give a damn about it. The whole dark side could show up on my front yard. I don't give a damn about it because I'm with the great compassionate light. So go ahead, do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't care. But you gotta feel that. Eh? You gotta really understand. So if you decide to build a relationship with the divine, which I recommend at all costs, what happens is over time, they do this for you, they do that for you, and you start to see the grace and the miracle, and then the doubts just disappear. But it takes time because you're not raised. All of us have been subjected, and generations have been subjected to brainwashing against the divine, against miracles, against grace. So you'll have doubts or worries, and you think it's nonsense or whatever. And that's why the divine does physical miracles. Physical miracles are performed so that it cracks the brain, cracks the mind. Because there's no way, no scientist, nobody can find a way that can happen. Impossible.
Do you personally work with people who want to establish such a connection?
Oh yeah, of course. And then I hook them up.
And you work with them on a regular basis and open up the,
Absolutely. That's my job. My job is to help and to serve. That's the only reason I was born. And I'm so grateful for this. I mean, honestly, all you guys out there, you're listening to this, join, come. This is a gift of gifts. And please make sure you have 3 divisions of prayers. There's the global section is last. You're so grateful that the war in Palestine and Israel is gone. The war in the Ukraine is gone, and all the wars are gone. You're so grateful that there's no nuclear weapons used, and that humanity enters the golden age, and the animals are all saved. The oceans are saved by divine grace, and we do not go extinct as a race of beings. Because you're that close.
You're good that you mentioned it, because from the short that we did on Instagram, I got to speak to a lot of people, like chatted on Instagram, and some of them were very knowledgeable. And one of them said that there's something known with a different name in Hindu that I can't quote right now. And that's the period straight after Kali Yuga, and he knows about it. And the predictions made about this period of the ends of Kali Yuga involve a nuclear war and an annihilation of Europe, at least. So do you think we're able to stop this? As it's just a possibility.
I can say that with authority. If the divine has enough people, so population, it's a ratio. The population of the world is 8.1 billion. You need 81,000 fully active people who are enlightened and are able to transfer a state known as Ananda. And I've just been recently empowered to transfer a state of Ananda, but my power for transfer is very small yet. If they have 81,000, they can avert any kind of war, any kind of tsunami, any kind of anything. They absolutely can do it. But if they don't have enough numbers to channel, see that you have the divine, and then you have the people, and the people have, it's got to be a global community. The people act as a amplifier and a director. So like if I want to, if I have the power of prayer, if I want to direct Sri Kalki, the Param Jyoti, to give Zorina Ananda. So the great compassionate light uses me like a aiming device.
Mhm.
So if there's going to be a nuclear war, it's very easy for them to stop as long as they have enough numbers. See, the dark side has lots of numbers. That's why they can blanket. That's why they can do all the stuff they do. So they have the numbers. We need the numbers, and that's why I'm saying to you, and I'll say it on the Mahurta event, if any of you feel drawn that you want to be working for saving the planet, serving the divine, it requires, the commitment is this easy. Nothing. You just register because it's all a gift. All you do is once a week, there is a Zoom class once a week on Saturday, and you just attend it. You plug in. That's it. Everything is transferred to you, just like when I do my work. If you've ever seen me or you see me professionally, I just transfer frequencies to you wherever you are. Same thing when you go to this, the 81,000, you plug in, and then everything you just receive. And your evolution, your understanding, your everything is changed by the divine for you, because you cannot do anything yourself.
Mhm.
Am I making myself clear? Do you understand me?
Yes, I understand. I just have a question about the numbers here, because clearly the ones that are wider channels or can conduit the divine have more power, right? So when you
Yeah,
say it's a
they
numbers
have power.
game, right? So when you say it's a numbers game, it depends how many on the dark side actually have a similar power or more power. I mean, it's also a matter of the
Yeah.
size, the container size, not so much about numbers. So it's a combination, right?
No, no. What did you
No.
mean by the container side? What do you mean by that?
How much light you can, or not light, but how much of the divine you can hold, you can bring to the world, as compared to, let's say, three people on the dark side, but they're not enlightened on the dark side of the spectrum.
The way you don't worry about holding any light. What she's referring to, there's a term called a CD, and a CD. If a person is a great being, let's say we have a great being, and they have CDs, it means that they actually have a individual level of power to do something. So, like if a person has pyrokinetic ability and they can channel energy and make something catch on fire, there are people like that. That's like a CD, but it doesn't. It's don't worry about that stuff. When you do what I do, you're a channel. So the great compassionate light flows through you to whatever it is.
So where does the dark side source their energy from, their
from
power from?
from the demonic forces, from the whatever however you want to envision that. Now, like I combat. I've had to combat a lot of like black magic and all kinds of different things for my clients. The way that works is the same thing. When you have an individual, let's say you have an individual guy or lady, and black sex magic is especially popular and strong. And so let's say it's a lady. So she's real seductive, and she's read all kinds of books, and she loves to dabble in all kinds of stuff, and she figures out how to access black magic. But she doesn't belong to any group. She doesn't have any connection to any great, like dark person. So her ability is nothing, and easy to break it, no problem. But if she belongs to a coven, a group, that group, and especially if that group is really connected to like hell, the devil, demons, the real dark stuff, then they have power, and it's dangerous. It's nothing to play with. That's the real deal, and that stuff is rampant, especially in places like LA. LA is a nest, so it's extremely strong there. So, but they have to have a connect. All of it has to be connected. If it's a Wiccan kind of a person, I love the Wiccan because I'm a nature person. They would have to really have strong, if they have any power, they have to have the real connection to the elements, elementals, to Mother Earth. That's a whole level. Those are levels. The stuff I'm talking about is so far above things like Wiccan, you need a telescope to see it. This is the great compassionate light itself. When I'm doing this stuff, this is when you die, after a certain little period, you will go before the great compassionate light. And it'll look like a giant, beautiful wall of light. But you won't be able to go in. You want to go in, but you can't go in. After a certain while, someone will come out of there to talk to you. It'll be, if it's Jesus for you, or a great being, or it might be your dad or your mom, someone will come out and talk to you for a while, and then you'll have your light review in front of the great compassionate light. And after the light review, you will judge yourself. If you can forgive yourself and you have high understanding, or your heart is open, you will be allowed access into the great compassionate light. And if you're not, then you go to hell, or you go to some low place, depending on resonance and all those different things. So the thing I'm connected with is that great compassionate light. Things like Wiccan or other systems, they're nothing, just nothing. It's nice, and they're there, they're real. But this, it doesn't get bigger than the great compassion. That's it. So that's who I'm connected with, and that's what the Mahurta is all about, and what this event is for. So when we plug in, this isn't children, this is the real deal. And it's a wonderful opportunity to have your life rewritten. There are 10 programs that control everything. And all programs can be rewritten, but it have to be rewritten by the divine. That's how I got my life. My life was rewritten in the sacred chambers at Dr. Rossi McClellan's house in 2014 in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's a sacred chambers is a process where you can get a especially strong access to the divine. And then I asked to have my life changed. And a few months later, I was leaving North America and moving to Thailand. I never dreamed of moving to Thailand in my life, nor did I ever know that I would be a distance healer. You can't go to school to become a I didn't know anything about this. This is all divinely channeled through me.
I see.
Yeah, but what I do and what we learned is apples and oranges.
All right. I suggest we end it here, because I have so many questions, and I'd like to have you back to talk about a lot of things, such as you mentioned the devil. I want to know, what you know about that, how this compares
Not a lot. I want to tell you right now, and Bhagavan warned about this. One of the things about the dark side is acknowledge it, but don't talk about it or study it or worry about it much because it gives it power.
Yeah.
You understand?
I absolutely understand. I don't want to really know. I'm just wondering how there is a personification of the dark side and there's no actual personification from the great compassionate light unless you
There
give
is.
shape.
Oh, that's what Sri Alma Bhagavan is. That's what Sai Baba is. That's what Krishna is. That's what who Krishnamurti was. That's who Buddha was. Padmasambhava, Jesus, Moses. Those are all personifications of the great compassionate light, who's talking through them for us.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, and so is there only one personification on the dark side, or are there more?
Oh no, I don't think so,
You don't
honey.
know. Oh.
You see, here's the way these things operate. The great compassionate light is light.
Yeah.
So that means it's omnipresent everywhere. And it can take any shape, any form, anything you want
Mhm.
in order to make you comfortable so you can talk to it. The dark side is the same way. So like it's like I
It's
think
really
of it
like the
like this.
Matrix.
Oh
It's really
yeah,
like,
and then it just possesses the person
right.
by resonance.
Like it's like Smith, what was it? Agent Smith in the Matrix.
Yeah. They everything runs by resonance. So certain people, very easy by resonance, they draw the dark side right into them. And other people, like myself, is since I was born, draws the great compassionate light in. It's by resonance, and that goes by karma and by all kinds of things. So much. So that happens at your conception. That's dependent on your mother and your father. And it's so deep. There's so much. That's why you need the teaching of Sri Bhagavan to be able to understand all this stuff because it's
Are the
it's
meetings in English, or does it matter at all if you understand, or just you need to be present?
Sri Bhagavan speaks English.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sri Alma Bhagavan doesn't speak English, so Bhagavan does the specific talking. But luckily and then for the people who are registered, they give a full transcript is sent in case there's anything you miss or you don't understand. Plus, the information he gives is so deep and complex, and he answers questions. So it's good to be able to reread it because there's so much there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to the event. And again, I'll put the links below in the description of this video. How far ahead are you booked? So when can people get a hold of you?
You do not, okay, so for the Mahurta, no booking necessary. You just get on there and you just open up the link and you're there.
Right, but I mean for your personal one-on-one clearings help.
Yeah, for me, just request a session. You want to get on my WhatsApp to talk to me directly because my admin, we've had so much on Instagram. Like if you request through Instagram or anything, Johnny will get it to me, or he'll guide you to my WhatsApp. WhatsApp is depth healing, and the number is. Do you want to write this down, honey? Because it's +66.
You
I don't
can
know how
say
to.
it here, yeah.
Well, maybe I can. Can I?
No,
Can I?
say it
What do
out
I do? I
loud
go
and
to.
then I will put it in the
Okay,
description. Mm-hmm.
because it's +66 80 463 9056. That's my WhatsApp number, and it's depth healing. And then I do all my own booking and take care of everything myself. You and me. I start work at 8 a.m. Thailand time. 8 a.m. Session is 2 hours long, and there's a second session at 10. And then for folks on Zarina side of the world, the other side, I do an afternoon session that starts at 1 p.m. Thailand time. I don't go after that because I need my connection and my energy to be surgically strong and precise, because a lot of time people's lives depend on me. So I don't work later because if I'm tired and I'm inaccurate, I won't trust it. So it's early, and then you just sign up with me, and I'll take care of you.
Awesome. Great. So looking forward. Thank you. It was very enlightening as always, talking to you.
Thank you so much, Lorena. I really appreciate it. Remember, folks, please log on early because now the numbers are getting huge, eh? So, and have all your prayers written out beforehand carefully. And I do recommend gold ink if you can. If not, use blue. Don't use black or any other color. No green, nothing like that. Either gold or blue. And then you save those prayers and in a safe place, and you always keep them. Okay?
Fantastic.